All right, guys. So first of all, thanks for coming out, guys. Town hall, and then also thank you for staying with us and helping us keep the gym open. We really appreciate it. It's been tough. We had to do a hard pivot. On Monday, the Monday that we closed, my goal for that day was to create a plan to, well, what if we close? What's that process going to look like? And then at 10 or 11, they announced we had to close that night. So we had to turn on a dime, and it was quick. And our coaches did a really awesome job. I can't thank them enough for what they did. And thank you guys for staying with us and helping us out through this time. We really appreciate it. So thank you. So what we're going to lay out is our plan for getting back to normal. And it's going to be a process. There's going to be stages through that. And that doesn't mean, let's say that the state, Hogan says we can open on Monday. That does not mean we're going to open on Monday. I don't think we're not ready for it. Our coaches aren't ready for it. And I think most members aren't ready for it. I think everybody's ready for more interaction with people, but jumping right into the gym is going to be something that we have to kind of work into. We had to turn on a dime when we started this, but to ramp back up, we can on-ramp into it. We can slowly get into this to make sure that we're doing all the right things and make sure there's processes to make sure everybody's safe and healthy and whatnot. So even there's two factors when we're going through this process that we're going to consider. The first one, obviously, is what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do, right? If we're not allowed to be open, well, we're not going to be open. So, if we're only allowed to have 10 people, we have to make sure that only 10 people are in the gym. So that's the one thing. We need to make sure that we're, meeting all the things that the state says we have to. And then the second thing is what I mentioned it a little bit before, is what we are comfortable with. And when I say we, I don't mean Chris and I. We're part of it, but also our coaches and our members. If we feel like we're not ready to go to that next stage, we're not going to go to it. Even if the state says we can go back to normal, if we're at stage 2, we're not going to skip stages. There's going to be a process. We're going to slowly go through that process, no matter what they say we can or can't, or whatever. Even if they say we can do something, that doesn't mean we're just going to hop right into it. There's going to be a process to it. So we're not going to be jumping levels. Now, that being said, stuff can go, stuff could get better, and then it could get worse. And we might be going up stages, and then all of a sudden there's a breakout locally, and we might have to close. Or, we might have to go back some stages. And that's something that, we are prepared, if we have to do. But the transition with that should be better, right? That first pivot that we had to make, that was completely new and we weren't ready for it. Now, if it happens again, we're, much more prepared for that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But we're going to take all the precautions we can within reason to keep everybody safe. So that's kind of just some general things. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to go over the actual stages and explain a little bit. Once I go over all the stages, we have I have some other topics at the bottom that I want to address. And then once we finish that, I'll let you guys ask some questions. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quick. I want to keep this under 40 minutes if possible. So the first stage is remote, and that's what we're currently doing. We're currently doing this, and you guys know what's up with that. Stage 2 is going to be full remote. You'll still be getting your personalized workouts from your coach and whatnot, but 2 days or twice a day, Monday through Friday, and then 1 day on Saturday, we'll be doing outside workouts, and that'll be at the gym. But we will not have access to the gym. So there would be one at 9:30 and an evening time. We haven't picked a time yet. It'd probably be somewhere around 5 o'clock. But like I said, we haven't picked a time yet. During that outside workout, we would have physical distancing, making sure everybody's staying apart. If the state requires us to wear personal protective equipment, we'll wear that. If you feel more comfortable wearing something, you can do that as well. You'll have to bring whatever equipment that you have with you, because we do not have access to the gym. We're assuming that we're not allowed to use the gym. We're just allowed to have outside events. If there's any restrictions, I should have added this. Size restrictions. So there could be, hey, you guys can have outside events, but it has to be under, 20 people. That's something that we'll have to take into account. And then in that case, we would require a reservation for that, right? So that's something that we, so bringing your own equipment. So whatever you have, you're just going to bring it with you, and then you would take it back home with you, right? There's no, we should just be contained in our little pockets all the way around outside. And then also we probably wouldn't, since we don't have access to the gym, that would include the bathrooms. So if you plan on working out, if we plan on doing it for an hour, we haven't really talked about the specifics as a coaching staff yet of how the outdoor classes would run, if we wanted to make them a little bit shorter or keep them longer. But, you need to take into account that you won't have access to a bathroom for that time. So it'd be something to think about. That's our stage 2. Stage 3 is the gym is allowed to be open. However, it is only for personal training. And that personal training will, it's just for personal training. That's it. There's no classes. There's no open gym. It's only personal training. So during this time, we would still have full remote coaching for everybody. We would still be doing the outside workouts, but we would have access to the bathrooms. There wouldn't be any waiting inside. Only personal training, people doing personal training would be allowed in, unless they're using the bathroom. So for the personal training, we'd still have some distancing between the coach and the person doing personal training inside the gym. Again, personal protective equipment, any other state regulations that we have to follow. Making sure we're cleaning everything before and after as well. And then also, if you're currently, or if you used to do personal training and, you're just on the remote and let's say we have a PT available now and you're not comfortable doing it, that's fine. We can stay remote. Or maybe the coach actually isn't comfortable doing that yet. We have to wait when both parties are comfortable to do it, then we can start that personal training. We can also open up personal training to up to 4 members, unless we can't, right? It could be 3, but for for us, it's going to be capped out at 4. But if it's 2 or more, if it's 2, 3, or 4 people, they must be in the same household, and that's just to limit interaction with other people, right? So if you and your wife and your kid want to do a PT session, you can do that with a coach, right? So that's our stage 3 personal training. The stage 4, I think this is what most people are hoping to get to as fast as possible. So this is our limited group classes. And this is where it's going to start getting complicated. It's not the right word, but it's going to be a lot going on. So we would stop the outdoor classes and we would stop the outdoor classes and we would go to limited group classes. And if you weren't comfortable doing that, you could stay with your remote coaching. That's fine. If you wanted to do just classes, that's fine. If you wanted to do a hybrid of a little bit of both, hey, I just want to do 1 class a week and then get the rest for my the rest remote, that's fine too. So that's it's the same cost for any of those options. And, you can change that as you need to. So, the first 2 weeks, you're like, oh, I'm going to stay remote. And then you do another week of one class, and then you go to all classes. That's perfectly fine. We can adjust that as we need to. There will be limited, the classes that we do have will be limited in size. And you would require registration or reservations for every single class, not just the mornings, but for every single class. And that class size is going to be determined on two things. One is how many people are we allowed to have in the gym? And the second one is how many can we fit in the gym safely, keeping our distancing, our physical distancing. And that's something that we will adjust, and it'll grow over time, right? The more control we get over the disease, we'll be able to add more people and get back to normal. We'll also have a daily questionnaire that we'll have a reminder on the front door, or another way of doing it. So anytime you come for a class, we want you to ask yourself these questions, and we'll have a bunch of them and be like, hey, do you have a fever? Do you not feel well? Have you been coughing a lot? You need a tissue box next to you when you work out. Like, if you need those things, or you feeling anything, those things, it might be smart to stay away from the gym, obviously. So be a little questionnaire about how you're feeling, and be like, hey, is it really the best idea to be here? So the classes would be 4 a day. We'd have a 6 a.m., a 9:30 a.m., a 4:30 p.m., and then there'd be another evening class at either 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. We haven't finalized that number yet, or that time. And it's probably going to end up being 6:30. And the idea of this is to have a separation between classes to minimize the contact with a lot of people. The times that the gym is most crowded with the most people are at the finishing and starting of classes. So by spreading those out, by having time in between, we mitigate that, the number of people in the gym at one time. I know that's when a lot of people have the most fun, is in between those class times, but that's also when it's, everybody's at the most at risk at this time. So we're just going to mitigate that at the, for now, at this stage. This is the biggest change for this is going to be the logistics. We're going to try and keep that physical distancing inside the gym. And everybody's going to have a designated workspace. So there's a picture right below this. This is just an example of another gym of how they've done it. Ours is not going to look exactly like this. There's going to be a little bit more buffer between the people's spaces. If you notice, the line right up to each other, and the weights and equipment are like really close. We won't have that. The equipment will be much far. There'll be more separation between people, at least to start. It might get to something like this down the road, but we'll have designated areas for each person. For the entire workout, you will be in there, from warm up to practice to doing the workout to cool down. The whole workout will be done in your area. And then, the coach will, we have that separation with the rig, that coach being able to come up and down the rig to make sure everybody's moving well and still keep separated. I think that's going to work really well for us. We're going to make sure to clean, that time in between classes is going to give us time to clean and make sure everything is, ready to go for the next class and set up. The main computer that we use, we pretty much won't be using that during this time. Only the coach will have access to that, and it'll be mainly for, the music. All input, signing in the classes, inputting your scores need to be done on your phone or at home. So there'll be no access to the computer at all. And that, again, just to minimize the same use of objects. Obviously, you're going to be able to use the bathroom, and, you won't be in your designated area, but, those times will just, be smart and keep your distance and whatnot. There also will not be any open gym time for this or any of the other previous stages. So that's something to be aware of. And, we'll still have we'll have classes and our PT only for this stage. This is probably where we're going to have the most questions, if I had to guess. There's a lot going on there. The next stage is we're moving to a full schedule. So our standard schedule. There is a chance that we add a 15-minute break between classes, between our 3 evening classes. And that's something that I've been throwing around since the old gym, but we've never actually done it. I know switching between, like, if I take the 4:30 and trying to coach 5:30, that can be tough. And then also, the classes can get real clumped up and a little loud during those transitions. Having that 15-minute break for people to chat and have fun might be a good idea. But that's something that the staff and the coaching staff and us haven't really we haven't decided on yet. We still have a while. We'll still continue, limited physical contact, a little bit of distancing as well. Open gym will be reinstated at this stage as well. I think any equipment, remote coaching, unless you want to stay remote coaching, you're perfectly welcome to do. If that's something that you're really excelling with and you enjoy it, you can stay with that. But if you're starting to come back to classes and you're not doing any remote, we ask that you return, your equipment at this time, so we can start running our classes to our full steam. There's something else I wanted to say with this. You can kind of think about this level is how the gym was running right before we had to close, right? Everybody was kind of doing the elbow bumps, that's the type of thing that we were, we weren't really touching or, no high fives or anything. That's kind of how the gym at this stage 5. Now, stage 6 is normal. And I put a question mark next to that because who knows what normal is going to be like after this. This is something we've never dealt with before. So, we have to be flexible in defining what that normal is going to be. Things are going to change. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but it's something that might happen. What should normal look like? Like what do we want to change? Like, this is a good opportunity for us to reflect on what we want as a gym, as a community, and how to do that, how to implement it. I know us as a coaching staff, when we had our staff meeting yesterday, we talked about a lot of the lessons learned that we had and what we want to take when we start getting back to normal, what changes we want to make to help give everybody a better experience. And, we have a list of things that we think can really help and some things that can change, but that's something where if you guys have any ideas or thoughts, let us know. What do you like? What don't you like? What really helped you succeed during this time? What did you find challenging? And how does the group classes help you? How does having a face-to-face interaction help? That's something to think about over the next few weeks, months. So those are our stages, our 6 stages. And that's our plan. Like I said, if they say we can open, going into the additional topics now, one of the first questions that a lot of the staff had, coaches had, was what's the time frames for this? And the answer is there are no time frames, and I think that's the right answer because things change and it's going to take time to adjust. So, we have the state tells us what we can and can't do, and if we can't do it, or if we have to abide by certain things, we're going to do that. But also, we're not going to just jump in, like I said before, willy-nilly. Just because they say we can do something, that doesn't mean we necessarily should, right? We still have our standards that we want to keep. So we're gonna, if we're on stage 3 and they say we can go full open, we're still gonna work through the stages. We're still gonna work for 4, 5, and 6 to make sure we have so everybody feels comfortable and we're ready to go. A stage could be a day, it could be 3 days, it could be weeks. depending on how things go. So there's no set time frame on this. There's no set time frame on when this starts. This is just our plan for now. And then obviously, like any plan, it needs to be adjustable. So, this might change over time depending on how things go. Two of the other things that I wanted to talk about were the kids' room and the kids' classes. To be perfectly frank, we don't have a plan for these right now. For right now, the kids' room is just going to stay closed for the time being. We don't have it in any of our stages. I guess you could technically put it in stage 6 when we get back to normal, but we really don't have a plan for that yet. The one thought that we had was just to use the daycare, whatever their standards are, just to use that. So once daycares can start being used again, we would think about bringing that back. But again, that's something that we're still working on. The kids' classes, if schools are open, it's probably, you would think it would be smart to bring the kids back in, but we need to make sure that our space is ready for it, make sure that our coaches are ready for that as well. So we just don't have an exact plan at this time for those two things. I think that is it. Stages, anything, Krista? No? All right, guys. So, the point of this was one, to let you know, hey, we're thinking about you guys, and we really, really do appreciate you guys sticking with us. And we're not over here just twiddling our thumbs doing nothing. We are getting a plan. We're working on giving you as much value as we can and getting back to normal when we can and when we feel safe to do it. All right. So if you guys, you should be able to unmute yourself. If you want to ask any questions, just let me know and we can answer some questions. Yeah. Any questions? No? I know the real reason everybody got on was just to see my face. So there's that.
So true.
Eric,
Yes.
what guidelines from the state did you use in setting up this plan?
None.
Okay.
And so that's why we kept a lot of it. If you notice through the stages, it's good question, Ed. Thank you. If you notice, there's no real specifics in this. It's a general plan. All of this was what we thought we should do. As we go through this process and the state gives us more information, we'll add that in. But right now, what we're hearing from them is gyms are closed. So that's all they've given us right now. So there's not much we can base it off of. If we waited for them to tell us what to do, I think that's a plan to fail, right? I want to be active in this response, and all because you're following the law, that doesn't mean it's the right thing. So I want to go above and beyond just doing what they tell us to do, right? There needs to be more than just that, right? The minimum for a reason. We want to go above the minimum.
No, that makes sense. I just mostly was curious on our own account because I have no guidance either. So
yeah, not giving much. Just say closed. All right. I mean, Hogan did give his plan for like the tentative plan, like the stages to open, but again,
right.
That's pretty vague and based off of testing and whatnot. So
right.
Yeah, that's all we've had from anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? I love Lee just popped in and was like, she's like,
I do like the concept of the personal space
Yeah.
when you get to that stage. I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah. I can't say that it was my idea. I can't say any of my good ideas were my ideas, you know. Good artists are good, great artists borrow. That's what I like to say. So, you know, I'm going to find the best ideas and do what I can with them. Thank you, Dave. And nice to see you got your video working as well this time. Or maybe that's because I'm on a laptop now, not on my phone. Anybody else? No? I like to say everybody is looking pretty fresh. I was expecting some more like, I don't know. Like Amy looks all nice. Like her hair looks nice, and
Like me.
I'm not on video for a reason.
that's fair. That's fair, Virginia. Like,
Yes, I'm covered in dog hair.
Eric, I'm guessing you
Wearing
started
collared
from
shirts.
absolutely zero on that, and I think it looks like a very thoughtful plan that obviously you've got room to adjust when you need to. I just think it's a really great starting point.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Sherry. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out. I think that's all. If you guys think of anything, you know, what always happens is you look through everything. Like I said, I'll be sharing that document later. And if you look it over and have any questions, just shoot Chris or I an email or a text or Facebook message or, you know, whatever. Let us know. And we'd love to hear from you guys. All right. All right, guys. Take care. Have fun with the workout today. Front squats and push press.
Oh, a lot of reps.
Legends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, legend.